Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to take some time today to share some virtual interviewing tips with you. I've had a number of people reach out to me and say, hey, I've had a virtual interview scheduled, but I have no idea what I'm doing, and I was hoping that you could share some tips with me. So today I've put together 5 of my top tips on making sure that your next interview is a success. So let's dive right in. The first tip is to make sure that you have a clear, comfortable space. You want to make sure that the environment that you're interviewing in is comfortable to you and makes you able to show your best self during the interview to the interviewer. It's important to make sure that if you're living with anyone, you let them know, hey, on Monday at 2 o'clock, I have an interview. Please don't show up in your pajamas. Please make sure that there's not too much noise around at that time, because you want to make sure that there's no disruption caused during your interview. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to make sure that you dress for success. I know a lot of people are saying you can just dress for the interview by putting on a dress shirt or putting on a nice blouse, but just keep your sweatpants on. And to that, what I really want to say is you want to make sure that the way that you're dressing for an interview is the same way that you would be dressing up if you were to be leaving your house to meet someone in person. And the main reason why I say this is you want to make sure that you're getting into that mental headspace where you feel prepared for the interview, you're able to provide the best answers, and you're feeling confident because you're dressed appropriately for this interview. There's always going to be other days where maybe you're in a different meeting or maybe you're having a Zoom call with your colleagues at your current workplace where, yeah, sure, go ahead, wear sweatpants and just wear a blouse at the top. But I'd say for an interview, just to really make sure that you're nailing the questions, you're really nailing the comfort level that you have in that interview to make sure that you are dressed for the role and actually dressing for success. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is to make sure that you are maintaining eye contact. This is something that I cannot stress enough. I've actually held some Zoom interviews myself where I haven't had an individual maintaining eye contact and they haven't really seemed engaged in the conversation. I think the key thing with eye contact is you're able to show that your eyes aren't wandering and that you are engaged and interested in the conversation with the recruiter. So this is something that I would make sure that I was really doing during the interview. As awkward as it might feel during a video interview, I think it's something that you should get used to a little bit and feel comfortable with. And if that takes, practicing beforehand, something that I'll dive into a little bit later into this video, I think it's important to make sure that you make yourself comfortable with the eye contact aspect. The 4th tip is to make sure that you are actually doing your research on the company. I cannot tell you how many interviews that I've done with individuals where I've asked them, okay, so tell me what you know about our company or tell me what you know about the role. And their answer has been, oh, I don't really know much about the company. I was hoping you would tell me. In the day and age where we have Google, we have the World Wide Web at our fingertips, there is no excuse where you should be going into an interview and not knowing anything about the company. Do your research, make sure that you are aware of what the company is doing, what some of their goals are in the future, maybe what they're known for, because this is something that you could showcase in the interview where you can tie it back to how your skill set and your strengths can actually help further the company itself and actually help the company grow on its own. So you want to make sure that you've done your research, not only on the company, but on the role as well, so that you can tie in your existing experience into that role and bring that up into the interview as well. So that's tip number 4. Tip number 5, and something that some folks may have done in the past or may not have done, is actually role playing and practicing. Take some time before the interview, a couple of days before, maybe a week before, and sit down with a family member or a friend to practice the interview. I think this role playing will help you get comfortable or actually make sure that you're able to successfully complete that interview. So these are some of the tips that I hope will be helping you in the interviews that are upcoming for yourself or for your friends. If this was something that was useful for you, please feel free to like and subscribe or leave a comment below and share this with anybody in your network that might be preparing for an interview and not feeling as confident. Hopefully these tips will help.